Alright, Middle-Aged White Guy Reacts back again today with another video for you. And today's video is going to be a little bit different than my normal reaction video. This is a video, though, I have been planning to make for quite some time. I just want my prediction of this to be out in the public sphere, if you will, because this has been basically my thoughts since this whole situation happened. And if you saw the title of the video, you know we're talking Browns football, specifically Deshaun Watson and the Browns quarterback situation. Now, let's do a little backstory here real quick. So in case you're not a Browns fan, you're not aware of the situation. All right. So the Browns have been historically bad all my adult life, essentially. As a child, I got to watch good Browns football. So good that it was to the point where I didn't even understand when I was young that the Browns could lose. Okay. Like, it didn't make sense to me when they lost a game. So I experienced good football as a kid, as an adult when they came back for the last 20 plus years. Not so good. Definitely not so good. So we had a stretch where we went 1-15 and then 0-16 for a combined record of 1-31. After that, we got the first pick in the draft, that 0-16 season, and we drafted a quarterback by the name of Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield was very solid for us, okay? His rookie season, he took us from 0 wins to 7 wins. The next year was not great. He kind of took a step back. The typical for sophomore quarterbacks or in the NFL. So a lot of times you'll have what's called the sophomore slump, okay? So there's a lot of things that went on his second year. Call it a sophomore slump. Say he just sucked, whatever you want, okay? So we took a step back that second year. Still won 6 games. Not great, but I mean, better than what we were looking at the previous 2 years prior to that. So we won 7 games. We won 6 games. We come back in Baker's third year and win 11 games and a playoff game, okay? He took a step forward in that third year. Last season, started off, he had a great first game. We gave it away at the end against the Chiefs. We're not going to get into that. It's not important. And then in the second week of the season, he injured his shoulder trying to make a tackle on a defender. And he ended up re-injuring that shoulder. He injured his heel. He injured his knee. So the man, by the end of the season, was just broken, okay? He had a bad year. He had a very bad year. The Browns had a bad year. It was ugly, okay? But it wasn't, unredeemable, okay? So we have a situation now. We have a quarterback who's had 2 good years and 2 not so great years in his first 4 years in the NFL. Now, you could have taken the injury into consideration and say, okay, well, maybe he comes back healthy and we give it another go this coming season. The Browns did not decide to do that, okay? So what is Baker Mayfield, though? So Baker Mayfield is an average quarterback, okay? Let's not try to inflate his worth. I really like the guy. I like his attitude. He's a Clevelander, like not actually a Clevelander, but his personality fits with this city. So I really, really liked him, okay? And what he represented to us as Browns fans, okay? Because he took this organization and was a big part of them turning the corner and becoming an actual competitive team, making the playoffs and going on a little run. So I have nothing but gratitude for Baker Mayfield. I wish he would have just shut himself down after that injury last year. I think we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in today if he would have done that. But that's not what happened. Okay, so he decided to play with the injury. The coaches and the training staff, who are mostly at fault for that, allowed him to play. Okay, a lot of people say Baker should have pulled himself. It kind of works like that, but it doesn't work like that at the same time. Okay, if you've ever been played a competitive sport, you know that unless your arm is falling off, you go out there. As long as you can walk and run, you go out there. If you could be any sort of athletic at all, you go out there. That's what's expected of you. It's what's demanded. So the fact that people say, you know, he was selfish for not pulling himself, it doesn't fly, okay? The coaching staff, the training staff should have shut him down. We wouldn't be in this situation. Like I said, it's not what happened. Okay, so what happened was he played all year. He sucked. The Browns sucked. And we decided to go get another quarterback in the offseason. So what did we get? We got Deshaun Watson. Okay, now, on paper, Deshaun Watson is a top 5 quarterback in this league. Okay, clear head and shoulders upgrade over Baker Mayfield. I'm not going to sit here and act otherwise. Okay, keep in mind I said on paper though. Okay, so on paper, he was statistically one of the best quarterbacks in the league the last year he played. That team that he was on, the Houston Texans, only won 4 games though. So, you know, a lot of people say, oh, well, the team around him was so bad that, you know, whatever. Okay. All I know is that's a red flag for me. Okay. I don't know much about Deshaun Watson. I don't watch him regularly like I watch the Browns. Okay. I can't watch 3 hours of a Browns game and then find time to watch 3 hours of a Houston Texans game or any other NFL game. Okay. So what I have seen from him only comes from highlights and the game a couple of years ago that we played against him, which the weather was horrendous. It was like 60-mile-an-hour winds. So Deshaun wasn't throwing the ball a ton that game, and neither was Baker. So I didn't really get a good look at him in that scenario. Okay, so, but there's a red flag, okay? You put up this huge season statistically, but your team only wins 4 games. If you're such a great quarterback, why didn't you win more games? But that's, again, not the point of this video. But I'm just kind of laying the groundwork here, okay? So, this offseason, we traded for Deshaun Watson. We gave up 3 first-rounders, a third-rounder, 2 fourth-rounders. We guaranteed $230 million, the entire contract. We guaranteed the entire contract. All right, and what that means is the owner has to take a check for $230 million and put it in escrow. All right, because that's guaranteed money. It has to be there. Not many owners in the league can do that. So that already pissed off a lot of people around the NFL that Jimmy Haslam gave that kind of contract. Okay, so you gave a contract to a guy who has 24, count them now, 24 pending civil cases for, you know, inappropriate behavior. Okay, you can look it up if you want. Essentially, the guy was getting happy endings at the end of massages, and yeah, so there's a lot of issues going on with that, a lot of accusations, and it's ugly. It's really, really ugly. Like, I cannot defend the man. You know, like a couple, okay, well, maybe those were some overzealous masseuses who, you know, were masseuses, you know what I mean? But like 24 of them, oh God, man. Yeah, there's no defending that. You're a creep. You're a creep, dude. But anyway, so he has all these problems. Now, you had an average quarterback. You had a guy who can get you to the playoffs, can win playoff games for you, and if everything aligned right, could probably get you into a Super Bowl. And maybe if Lady Luck, you know, bestows her light upon us, we might be able to win one with Baker Mayfield. But you wanted more of a sure thing at quarterback. And I understand that. Okay, great. I understand that. But you go out and get this guy who has all these issues. Okay, supposed top 5 quarterback. May never take a snap as a Cleveland Brown, though. Let's be honest. So this is about to get into what this video is mainly about. Like I said, I know a lot of people probably aren't going to watch this. Nobody comes to my page for Browns content. But I want these words out here so when this happens, I could say I told you so. I mean, that's all this video is. This is a big I told you so. It's a preemptive I told you so. But a couple months from now when this all comes down, here it is. I told you so. Okay. So what is going to happen now? The NFL is going to indefinitely suspend Deshaun Watson. There's no way around that. You can't just do a year. You can't do, you know, 6 games, 8 games. It's going to be indefinite. And at that point, he has to jump through a ton of hoops. And there's no guarantee that he gets reinstated in the NFL ever again. Okay. Now, I think they would give him a path back. Okay. But the way the Browns structured his contract, isn't going to go over well with people at the NFL. So they, like I said, guaranteed him $230 million. His base salary for this upcoming season is $1 million. He got $45 million in bonus for this season, but base salary is $1 million. So if he is suspended the entire season, he loses $1 million. You have a $230 million contract over the next 5 years. I don't think he's missing that $1 million. So, in my experience, when you set something up within the rules, okay, this is all within the rules, but when you set something up within the rules to get out of something or to make a situation more advantageous to you, the powers that be usually don't like that, and they come down hard on it, okay? In my experience, like if I figure out a way to do something at work that's easier on me, but it isn't necessarily the correct way or the right way, and the bosses catch wind of it, they're going to come down hard, right? They're not going to let me, you know, I don't want to say half-ass, but they're not going to let me skirt around the way things are supposed to be in order to make my life a little easier, to make things more advantageous to me. So the league's going to look at this $1 million base salary. They know why they gave him a $1 million base salary, so that he won't lose a ton of money if he's suspended a long time this year. Okay. So that means that you're going to have to suspend him for more than a season, because you can't let him play this season out. You can't just be like, okay, well, we'll let you play this season and then we'll suspend you next year when we can take, like, you know, portions of $40-something million base salary. No, they can't let him play this year. So he won't be playing. He's going to get an indefinite suspension, and it's going to roll into next season. So now you're looking at a quarterback who won't have played, because he sat out last year. He sat out because he didn't want to play for the Texans, and that's when all this stuff started coming out, which is curious, I will admit. But like I said, I'm not here to defend that man. I'm not going to go down that road, okay? I could, if it was one or two, we could have that discussion, but I can't argue 24 of these cases. When also keep in mind that supposedly 66 women have massaged him in a 17-month period. So 24 have come out. How many more are in the pipeline waiting to drop their story? Okay. So this guy is screwed. This is going to just be perpetual, I have a feeling. So where were we? Okay. So they can't let him play this year, but they can't only suspend him this year. That's a slap on the wrist. That's nothing to him. So it has to roll into next season. Now you're looking at a quarterback who is going to have gone 2+ years without playing in the NFL. 2 full years, maybe more, without playing in the NFL. How good is he actually going to be? In the NFL, man, the difference between the best player on your roster and the worst guy on your roster is razor thin. Okay, so that's why you see guys who just lose a little bit of their speed or a little bit of their acceleration in their older years, and all of a sudden they can't perform anywhere near the level they were performing because they just lost that little bit that allowed them to get through the hole to make a run, or allowed them to cover a wide receiver and stick with them all the way down the field. So the difference in these athletes is just razor thin. So after 2.5 years of not playing football, are you going to be great? Maybe. There's going to be a lot of rust. So here's essentially what this all boils down to, and we'll wrap this video up. Let me take one more sip of coffee, and we'll put it all out there, and we'll end this. But 1 second. So, we're going to have Watson being suspended. The Browns this offseason trashed Baker Mayfield. Said, we want an adult in the room. Well, you got an adulterer in the room, but I don't know if he's an adult per se. So we wanted to get an adult in the room. They trashed Baker. Now they're holding him hostage. Okay, essentially what they're doing to Baker Mayfield right now, instead of just letting the guy go because they don't want to pay his $18 million. Okay, he has what's called a guaranteed contract as well. So the Browns owe him $18 million, whether they cut him, keep him on the roster. The only way they get out of paying that $18 million is if they trade him to a team who takes all $18 million of that contract. So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to trade him to save this money. They're essentially holding him hostage, though. And people are talking like you just keep Baker for the whole year, make him sit, and then you'll get a third-round compensatory pick next season. Basically, if you have a free agent who leaves after their contract is up, especially a first-rounder making what he was making, you get compensation, essentially, for losing the free agent. You get an extra draft pick at the end of the round. So we're trying to recoup a third by holding this guy all year, supposedly. I don't think that's going to happen. But really, we need to just cut him and eat the $18 million. Let the man move on. He's done nothing wrong besides not be good enough to win us a Super Bowl within 4 years. That's his crime, okay? It's just not being good enough and wanting to play through injury. So, the guy, maybe he's immature. Okay, yeah, he was quoting, pop culture stuff in press conferences every week, just trying to slip as much, stuff in there, rap lyrics and what the TV show was, like Always Sunny in Philadelphia or something like that. But, so he's a little immature, but he's not a bad guy. He's not a criminal. He's not he's not out here getting happy endings. I mean, maybe he is, but we're not hearing about it. We don't have 24 women claiming that he was inappropriate with them. He's just a guy who wasn't quite good enough to get you where you wanted to be. So now it's like, okay, let's say you're a husband and wife. The Browns will be the husband in this one. Baker Mayfield is the wife. Okay. So the husband decided that the wife is not good enough. Goes out and gets a shiny new girlfriend. Tells the wife, hey, you're out of here. But you can't move out of my house and you have to be here while I move my girlfriend in. And you're not going anywhere until I say you can go. It's a messed up situation. It's a messed up situation. Just let the man go. Let him go on with his career. Eat the fucking $18 million. That's what you signed up for when you did this move. You knew that you were getting a quarterback that you're going to have to pay an exorbitant amount of money. You're going to have to give up a ton of draft capital for, and you'd have to move your other quarterback. Okay, you knew all this was possible. That he could be suspended, and that you knew that you might have to eat that $18 million. At this point, you have to eat the $18 million. Just eat it. Anyway. Let's get back to it. I'm sorry, that was a little sidebar there. So the Browns were a very good team with Baker Mayfield. Up and down, inconsistent, but have the ability to be a very good team. We are right there. And now we try to take this shortcut. But the shortcut was a very dark alley that you couldn't really see down. You knew it would save you some time. It might get you where you're going a little bit faster. But there are unknown pitfalls and dangers down this alley, okay? And we went down it. So what's going to happen after he's suspended indefinitely, and probably won't take a snap for the Browns, okay? The Browns will then obviously not have a quarterback. They have this awesome roster that is ready to go to win a Super Bowl right now. We're a quarterback away. That's why we made this move in the first place. It reeked of desperation, though. But I digress. So you had this really good playoff team try to take the shortcut, and it might bite you in the ass. It's probably going to bite you in the ass. I don't think he's going to take a snap as a Brown. And you lose Baker Mayfield. Now, by the time you either draft another quarterback or another solid enough quarterback becomes available, because good quarterbacks don't become available typically. The next time a solid enough quarterback comes available that can actually get us to and win a Super Bowl, this roster is going to be old. It's probably going to be in the middle of a rebuild. So you've essentially, Andrew Berry, and Jimmy Haslam and Kevin Stefanski, you've essentially closed our fucking window. You've closed our window for the next several years, and it's going to be fucking hard to open it again. It is going to be ridiculously hard to open this window again. Like I said, you have an aging roster. You're going to have to start replacing your front seven, your offensive line. Nick Chubb, okay, one of the best running backs in the league. How many more years does he have? He's been here for 4 years. He has another 4 at a peak level. if you drafted a quarterback next year, you're going to have to go through the rookie year with them figuring things out, maybe a sophomore slump year, all right? And then you're looking at the tail end of Chubb's career, having a quarterback who's good enough to get this team back into the playoffs. Nah. They screwed us. They screwed us. They screwed us hard. And I'm not happy about it. Definitely not happy about it. Watson is not going to be our savior, I have a feeling. And even if he was, how good can I feel about that as a Browns fan who've been waiting my entire life? All right. So I'm 40. Okay. I've seen them in, like, 86, 87, 88 is when I started, like, really, like, paying attention to football. Okay. I don't know. It's just, it's insanity. It's insanity what they've done. So I forget where I was going with that, because this whole thing's just a jumbled mess that it gets jumbled and messy in my head as well. But yeah, how can I feel good? That's where I was going. How can I feel good about winning a Super Bowl this way if we do? Okay, very unlikely. If we end up winning a Super Bowl, how can I feel good about that? How can I feel good about that? You took the guy who just oozed Cleveland, had the right attitude for this town, was our homegrown. We drafted the guy, we developed him ourselves, and then we hire a villain to be our quarterback to take us to the promised land. How can I feel good about that? We just asked Thanos to come save us. That's what we did. So as a Browns fan, I can't really feel great about that. But also, I see exactly how this is going to go, because as a Browns fan, Browns things happen to the Browns. And the most Browns thing that could happen to the Browns is the Browns signing a top 5 quarterback who never takes a snap for them, and alienating a top 15 quarterback who goes off and becomes a solid, starting quarterback for several years in this league and takes teams to the playoffs, other teams. So that's probably what we're looking at. We're looking at indefinite suspensions for Deshaun. And this is not going to work out well for us, guys. Not going to work out well. Just my thoughts. I wanted it out here so when it actually does happen, I could say, hey, look, I told you a while ago. Should have listened. This is my thoughts since we first signed the guy. I've never been excited about it. Like I said, a top 5 quarterback, though, I should be head over heels. I should be ecstatic. I can't even feel good about it, though. It's just such a shit sandwich, man. If he comes and he's top 5 quarterback and we win a Super Bowl, I guess great, but it's just not going to be the same. It's not going to feel right. That'll do it, though. That'll be the rant. That'll be the video. Middle-aged white guy is out. Peace.